Our next presenter is are with Straugh Trout Architects. They received a second place award for their work on the Magnify Credit Union building in it's a credit union in South Lakeland, Florida. It's a net zero energy building. Features a pretty impressive water collection system as well. And the jury was particularly impressed with the use of the site and how they use the land, and they incorporated this new building into around a historical neighborhood building. You'll see how they did that. Jerry Trout and Tim Oak. Thanks.
Well, good afternoon. I want to take a minute and just tell you about who we are and where we're from. Straugh Trout is a small to medium-sized firm, depending on the economy, and we've been around for about 50 years, and we've been responsible for about 5 million square feet of built projects. In the last couple of years, or maybe the 5, 6 years, we've been heavily involved in sustainable design, and what really is important to any architect is to get the right client. And this client that we had is someone who had the same vision that we did, and could see beyond the initial costs for what we wanted to do and for a sustainable building. Tim, you want to take over?
Yeah, the interesting part about the project here is we really don't have, it's in a standard suburb, okay, across America. Happens a million times. We don't really have a strong context to build from, so to speak. There's shopping centers, there's a residential neighborhood, there's an elementary school a few blocks away. There's a little bit of industrial stuff. So what we did was, with the client was a credit union, and they were a community-focused group. Their name was Community First Credit Union when we first started working with them, and did a couple other branches with them. When we got to this project, and we kind of really pitched, let's go green with this. You know, let's make this a truly sustainable building. They really bought into it, and it became part of their business model. And they tied that in with a rebranding of their business, and tried to incorporate financial, awareness and environmental awareness with financial responsibility, and that's kind of helped them identify themselves in their marketplace, just as the building has in the community. They bought the piece of property here. Or let me back up. Just in style and form, the project's really a simple box. It's really a brick box, and all we did is we took the roof, which was a little exaggerated, which is helpful in Florida because the main goal is to help protect from the sun and the rain. Took the roof, lifted it up so we could get daylight in as a clear story, and then also punctured around the sides of the box for more light and for more vision, both to see in and to see out. Being a banking industry, not only do you want to be able to see out and be more productive as a business, but you want people to be able to see in. And I've talked to some other people, and they said, if there's somebody in there after hours that shouldn't be in there, it's a good idea for the community to know, to see that, the law enforcement, things like that. So, it was really a simple gesture that I think we were able to maximize both, and you'll see with the technical aspects of some of the photovoltaics and things. But look, the site was the existing, previously developed site. And what you can see, pointer, right. There was a small ice cream shop that was existing on the site, existing stormwater pond, existing parking lot, and it was really a unattractive modular little building that was a community staple, kind of this community landmark, if you will. It's not no architectural historic significance, but when we started talking about the project, and as soon as the contractor put the fence up, the whole community asked us, is the ice cream shop going to stay? It was really, they didn't care what was going next to it. So one of the neat things is the contractor was able to keep the ice cream shop open throughout the construction. So people were actually getting ice cream and watching this building go up right next door, and really seeing firsthand some of the installations of the system, seeing the cisterns go in the ground, seeing the PV panels be installed on the roof. And so, again, you know, as we talk about it, we'll talk about how the client's mission of education, environmental awareness, and the community outreach kind of ties in full circle to the way we've kind of developed this project. As far as the other site amenities, what we have is we developed a plaza area here with a pavilion, which during the day ice cream patrons may use, and the credit union may have events, and if they want to open that up, there's bollards that can block off the road and make a larger plaza, so that sustainable design is not just in the energy, but it's actually in the layout of the space and the site. We were able to reduce the total number of parking spaces and actually convert some of the parking spaces. I think 3 or 4 of them, four spaces here have for future electric cars, have plugs ready to go for car charging stations. So that was kind of a way we helped redevelop and improve this site. The idea of this symbiotic relationship kind of developed, which was great. We had a traffic study was required to be done, and to determine the impact, adding another business here. Because they were currently widening the roads, and were they going to need a turn lane, and how are we going to address all of this with this new project on these small streets? And the traffic study proved that it makes sense that the credit union, when it's open, is open, which we like to call the banker's hours, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. When do we go get ice cream? We go get ice cream in the evenings and on the weekends. So it was this interesting dichotomy that developed where the businesses really operated at opposite times. And what's been neat about that is it's helped give this vitality and this life to the intersection in the building, where there's always something going on, whether it's the credit union that's having a function or just having regular daily business, or the ice cream shop on the weekends, or like I said, there's an elementary school down the road, so sometimes there's students there in the afternoons. Really has breathed a lot of life into this little suburban pocket of a context that we work in. Environmentally, we're trying to fight the Florida sun. So by putting the credit union right up next to the ice cream shop, now we have less exterior wall that's exposed to the sun, and they kind of help insulate each other. And believe it or not, there is an ice cream window that opens up into the credit union. There's a little community room, so they have functions and bring your kids and all kinds of stuff, and the members get discounts on ice cream, and they've got all kinds of tie-in there. It's quite entertaining. But we've tried to, like I say here, the flexible plaza design, the walkable neighborhood. This symbiotic relationship that's developed both professionally and architecturally has really made this project unique.
Other way.
You're doing good.
The most exciting, I think, technically aspect of the project is what we call the photovoltaic blanket. And what we've done is we've created this double roof design. Instead of, speaking to the students, there's going to be all kinds of building technology that are going to come out that we have now, and it's going to continue to be developed. What I would do is encourage you guys to not just take an off-the-shelf electronic or a component that a vendor might make or produce, but try to use your design skills to incorporate that, take it the next step further. What we could have done was roof mount these PV panels and put them on stands that angle up, and it works. But what we chose to do was angle the entire roof facing south. And then what we did was by doing the entire roof south and then elevating the panels just enough to create a plenum space, we've now created this double roof where the panels shade the building and reflect some of the solar heat gain. And then the operating heat from the panels, along with the solar heat gain, is then passively escapes through natural convection as the heat rises with the sloped roof. So it's really pairing this technology with a real simple passive design strategy. And that's really where I think some of the neat successes in a lot of these projects that you'll see today are. It's kind of taking and pairing systems and seeing things for more than what they might be off the shelf. Along with this, we've got, you saw in the photographs, a lot of glass and a lot of natural daylight. And we have an intelligent lighting system that measures the daylight and dims the interior fixtures as required. And so I think being in Florida, we have that sunlight available, and it really helps us on energy efficiency. Good?
Yeah. Go.
Another key thing in Florida is water. Water shortages have really, in recent years, actually postponed a lot of projects because the local utilities and infrastructure aren't able to provide potable water. So I think this project, when this was going on, a lot of that was happening. So one of the things we were able to do, the existing site, the city utilities had run 2 potable water lines. There was one for drinking water and one for irrigation for the existing ice cream shop. So what we did was collect all of our rainwater harvesting system, collecting all our water off our roofs, using that for irrigation, and then we're able to utilize the potable water line that was originally intended for irrigation for the credit union. We reduced our overall potable water by 80% by low flow fixtures, using the rainwater to flush toilets, and then using micro irrigation and drip and mist irrigation styles, and also what you'll see up there is called Florida-friendly landscape design. That is an established landscape criteria that has been developed in cooperation with the university systems in Florida. That once those plant life is established, they really don't require irrigation at all. So we have it. Sometimes you might go through some drought period, but that really helped bring our water requirements for this project down a lot. Okay. And then as far as the program goes, and like Jerry, like we mentioned with the client, they really rebranded their credit union with this building. The tying in between financial education and environmental awareness was key and part of their mission and what we were charged to help embody in our design. The open floor plan, as you see on the interior here, is a little different than what you think a standard bank or credit union you walk into. You walk in, you stand in line, there's the tellers, there's the window, sometimes bulletproof glass, depending on where you're at. And, they're on that side with the money, and you're on this side, and you're trying to communicate through the little crack underneath. Well, what they're doing here with their delivery system was a total open floor plan. They have in these little transaction pods, you can see here standing here, working here, they've got an electronic cash recycler underneath the counter there. And the best way for me to explain it to you, it's like part ATM, part cash drawer. When on the computer, whether it's a laptop or a tablet or the computer's built in at the pods, say, okay, it's been a deposit or it is being made or money given out electronically, it spits out exactly the right amount of money, and it's like a built-in vault. So by doing that, we didn't have to. There's no cash drawers that have to be protected. We didn't have to account for building space for a huge vault because there really is no vault. These things operate like mini vaults, just like an ATM somewhat would be. So that was kind of a technological advancement that the client was able to, help us incorporate and open up our floor plan. Opening up the floor plan lets us have more of a flexible design. They can hold functions inside and outside in that plaza, but they've had different chamber events there, parents' night out, because they're really, like I said, a community-focused client. So they'll, have a date night for parents, and they have a whole. In the corner here, you'll see they have a whole kids corner where they've got a Wii set up, and they have Wii bowling tournaments and stuff like that. And you have wine tastings, and so they're really about getting people in the door, not just to deposit your check at the end of the day or pay your bill. So it's really an interesting approach that they've taken as a branding and the client, and the way we've been able to rethink the program of this credit union.